And we had gotten to a point where we were speaking about Naomi from the book of Ruth. And Pastor Judy was just telling us, she's right here with me smiling because I have to keep nasema pastor anacheka kwa huyu msichana huyu
ni pastor tu ni ordaining ajapewa
hiyo jina imekataa kutoka. So she's just telling us how we have to get to a point where we are now accepting, and reflect back. You've seen now, this is the real me. Right. This is who I am. I may not be sahi nimepatwa na circumstances, situations that have hurt me, they've broken me, yes. And so I get to a point where I am now accepting that yes, this is where I am, but this is not who I am.
Yes, yes. And you realize Naomi makes a reference to God. She says, I'm empty, meaning you have to come to that place. You can only approach God from the place of intimacy if you understand that you are empty, because God, he has to come and fill your empty places.
Right.
I love that, because now women, if you're broken, now what I'm getting is you need to go back to the maker. You need to go back to God, your creator, to feel that
having
emptiness.
Acknowledged, because sometimes we go back, and that's when wanasema wanawake wamejaa kanisani, tumejaa kanisani, but because we have not remembered who we are, because we have not come to the place of acceptance, then present that emptiness to God so that he can feel it. Otherwise, in your fullness, you're worshiping the Lord, but not being able to encounter healing.
You know what? I love, there's a scripture, let me just throw it in there, that says, broken
and a contrite heart,
the Lord cannot reject.
Yes.
So there is no situation that you are too broken for God.
In fact, that is what he works with. It's better for you to come in your brokenness and present it to God, because God is a gentleman. He only deals with you to the degree that you have surrendered. So Naomi had come to that place of surrender. So when she then, after acknowledging, and she came into that place of surrender, then she began to take her journey. And if you read through, because we don't have too much time, if you go back into the book of Ruth, and you begin to realize that Ruth goes to glean. She goes to the farm to work. And then as she works, she goes to Boaz's farm. And then the same woman, Naomi, who had said, don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, now remembers her identity. She says, we have a kinsman redeemer. Something happens to you the moment you are able to, one, remember who you were as a child, begin to accept, and then yield it to God, then you begin to remember your identity.
Right.
Naomi began to remember her identity. And because now she was approaching her identity from the place of healing, from the place of wholeness, what then you begin to see is that now Naomi her eyes begin to open, because she's coming from a place of I am content, now I know myself. She can begin to see the potential in Ruth. She no longer saw Ruth as a widow. She began to see, this one can remarry.
Go back.
Yes.
Go back. Go back. I have nothing to give you.
Now she begins to see, I actually have something to give you. And more than that, I can see what you're carrying. I can see that you're not just a widow. You actually have it within you to become a wife again. Meaning that she begins to speak life into Ruth. What are we saying? When a woman has encountered healing, she begins to speak healing other women. She begins to speak life. She begins to speak hope. She begins to see potential in other women. So I see the name, till number iko hapa. So
my goodness.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
It's not just for you.
No.
You actually now become a giver.
You become a giver.
Of the same.
You begin to see like what is in other people. Right. You begin to see life in other people. You begin to see potential in other people. You begin to celebrate other people, because you are comfortable in your own skin.
That's true. Identity is so powerful.
Identity is everything.
Finding
identity is everything.
Exactly
Na inapiga watu chenga sana.
Yeah, because we have found identity in so many other things.
Yes.
But we left the core.
Yes.
Which God, designed for us.
Yes.
Yeah. And if only women would discover that right thing and go back to na tumia hiyo sweetness of who
I'm
they
telling
are.
you, Ndiema, that thing is that thing that you're calling that thing.
Yeah.
It's everything. I found it in my 40s, and it changed the dynamic of my life. That's why I'm so passionate that I have to come and keep on spreading this word, because once you find it, it's everything.
Powerful. What happens to someone who has lost it? And probably you can share from your own experience.
Yes.
It's you've lost it for such a long time, and you feel, I don't know if I can ever get this back. Your biological clock has gone, your friends are no longer there, probably even, you know, many other things are not working. Is there a hope?
There's so much hope. We are going to finish with that hope.
Okay.
As we talk about Naomi's story.
Let's continue. Yeah, Charity, tuendelee. Mimi nataka tu kusikia hiyo hope.
Nataka kusikia hiyo hope iko wapi? Hiyo hope iko wapi? For me, it's just trying to like bring it all together.
Yes.
Now, Naomi has gotten to a place where she's known her identity.
Yes.
She's healed. She's
Yes.
come to terms with her situation.
Yes.
And now she's nurturing and healing.
Realize that her husband is not back. Realize that her children are not back.
No. Actually, the situation
The
hasn't
situation
changed.
hasn't changed. It is her perspective that has changed because she has healed.
Wow. Mindset.
Okay.
Perspective. I love it.
Yes.
Yes.
So she begins to see Ruth's potential, and then she becomes a solution giver. Remember that Boaz actually needed someone, and Ruth needed someone. So Naomi now opens her eyes and she becomes a solution giver. We talk about solution giver in the kingdom. You cannot become a solution giver. You can only become a solution giver to the degree that you are whole, that you are healed, and to the degree that you're comfortable in your own identity. Then you see the problem and you're also able to see a solution.
Nice.
So Naomi, and I'm talking about this so that even on Mother's Day, we don't just talk about children and the home, but even within the corporate space, whichever area that God has placed you as a woman, you become a solution giver by the reason of healing.
I love it. I love it. Because in this case, actually, now Naomi wasn't the direct mom.
She wasn't. She wasn't, yes. And it's good that you've brought out that, because we are addressing women, some who have never had children. We are talking to some who are probably stepmothers. We are talking to some who probably even in the marketplace, you know, you are mentoring people. You are a mother by all standards. Because we are not defining motherhood by the fact that someone has a child or a husband or everything, then today, Ndiema, we are talking to all women.
Right.
Right?
That's lovely.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you become a solution giver. And that's what happened to Naomi. She became a solution giver. She was able then to even become a nurturer. To nurture Ruth into the place of becoming a wife again. When you are healed, you become a nurturer for other women, for other people around you. It doesn't matter whether they are yours or not. You speak life into people, you speak hope into people, and you're able to position them where they need to be so that they can function at their best.
Would you say,
yes,
because I know in this case we've already established that, you know, the situation hasn't changed, but we see maybe restoration comes after. But would that also be, is it something that as a woman, when you're nurturing others, you're already healed?
Yes.
Umepona.
You can only nurture. By the way, unasikia wakisema wanawake wanachukiana. It is a pain that we are carrying. You are laughing.
Yeah.
It is a pain that we are carrying. It is not that wanawake wameumbwa kuchukiana. It is people are carrying so much brokenness that you cannot carry light. You cannot actually nurture.
Wow. Okay. So it starts with us.
It starts within.
Yeah. They say the women are their own
enemies. Yes, but that's why we have to preach this message of healing, so that when we all heal, then we will all support one another. We will all love one another, and actually also become better wives, Ndiema.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, if you live with a bitter wife.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
yes.
Kwanza mwanaume ndio unapata, you know, all the...
So this conversation is really holistic, that we want to affect families, we want to affect corporates, who want to affect, you know, the future generation just because women are healed.
Yeah. And I think now it brings me to what Ndiema had asked. You were in this situation where you've been in this for a very, very long time. And sometimes you get to a place like Naomi, your husband is not coming back to life, your children are not coming back to life. Is there hope for such kind of people?
I think there's so much hope, because then we begin to come to that place where we define life by the reason of impacting other people. There is joy and fulfillment in just becoming the light for another person.
It's not just, okay, mimi nitarudishiwa.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you get it.
Yeah.
So that then now we are teaching a different gospel. Remember that actually Ruth was a Moabitess. She was not supposed to go into the place of worship. It took a woman who was healed to be able then to become so much light that she can connect a Jew with a Moabitess. This gospel that we're talking about, even including, you know, spreading the word of God, spreading the gospel, it is beyond pamphlets and brochures. If we can carry enough light, Charity, just smile.
And I sing.
The reason I'm smiling
that's
is
such
because
a,
it's singing.
I know, it's such a picture.
Yeah.
Instead of wewe tu ni mabronchuas za
So,
good news.
karibu kanisa yetu,
tembea
tuko
na
pale
taa.
nyuma ya tent.
Yeah. Oh, that's
That,
powerful.
Ulana, Ruth was, Naomi was, she became so much light that actually she was able to connect and become light to Ruth, to now join the light with a capital L, the true light, and become a part of the new genealogy. So this gospel that we are talking about, it becomes easier if we carry the love of God. But we can only carry the love of God to the degree that we are healed, to the degree that we are whole. And that's what we are talking about.
Are there situations, even as I know time is very much gone,
Yes.
in your life where you can say, you know, this was my moment, this was my Naomi moment, but I realized who I am, my identity became real to this degree, and that's why you are who you are today?
Yes, for me, honestly, I was broken. And I think for me, I'm really passionate about Mother's Day because I was raised by a broken woman. My mother was forced into marriage at a very young age to a man way, way older than her. When I was born, I'm the last born of 4. My mother, the 3 girls ahead of me, they were girls, of course I have mentioned they were girls. So number 4 was expected to be
A boy.
a boy.
Yeah.
So that now I was able to validate my mother's position. I ended up coming out as Judy, the way you see me today, a girl. Do you know the repercussion? I don't have any vaccination. Whooping cough, polio.
Hizo zote.
Nothing.
Wewe hivi hauna?
Mimi sina. COVID ilikuja wakasema watu wa BCG ndio wanaenda. Wale hawana BCG. Ulisikia watu walikufana India.
Yeah.
Na China they said ni watu wa BCG, wale hawana. I thought Ndiema hata hatungeonana hapa Sunday best leo.
Oh no.
So I grew up in such that was my upbringing. That was the home. My mother was a bitter woman.
Right. And you know it trickles down.
It did.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to heal.
Right.
For me now, that then became my message. I knew
Amazing.
that you can heal. And I discovered this in my mid-40s.
Way later.
Way later.
Yeah.
But just like Naomi, because I know your time is gone, right?
Right.
Just like Naomi, in Naomi chapter 4, at the end, Naomi connected Ruth and Boaz. And when she connected Ruth and Boaz, what happened? They had a child. And when that child came, the women in the village said, Naomi now has a son.
Wow.
That is to give hope to everyone out there healing, who is wounded, broken. When you heal, it then becomes God's and you surrender to God. It then becomes God's agenda to back you up and almost accelerate you to your path of purpose and restoration. Now what you are asking about becomes possible.
Wow.
What a way of looking at Mother's Day.
Yeah.
This is different. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glory
that
to
restoration can happen.
Restoration can happen. People can be healed. Marriages can be restored. Careers can be restored. Destinies can be reclaimed by the reason of healing.
Wow. When a broken woman is restored
Yes.
and reclaimed,
Yes.
I believe the whole society.
This whole society, your
Heals and
family,
succeeds.
your workplace, I'm telling you, you begin to thrive. You find purpose again.
Yeah.
And that's what we are looking for.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey, this is very nice.
It's-
I'm thinking about a woman as a pillar, because a woman is a pillar in many ways.
Absolutely, yes.
So if this woman is whole, Kwisha.
Yes.
And the opposite is true.
The opposite is true as well.